guys, thanks for visiting my channel and welcome to my home canned pantry. Many of you have contacted me and asked me to share with you my home canned pantry and explain things that I like to can, don't like to can, things I wouldn't can again, and just give you some ideas about storage and that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to do today. But the first thing I wanted to talk about, and I've talked about this many times on my channel, is storing your jars. You want to make sure that you store your jars without the rings on them. And you want to make sure that your jars are nice and clean. So after you finish a canning session and your jars have rested for 12 to 24 hours, make sure that you thoroughly wash them. I use dish soap and a little bit of white vinegar and hot water, and just make sure they get nice and clean, give them a good rinse, and I remove the bands and check the seals. So that's the first thing. And I know several of you have expressed that you don't understand the reason for removing the rings and you like to leave your rings on. So I wanted to read to you what the USDA recommends, why they recommend removing the rings. That way you can get it straight from the horse's mouth and it's just not something that I'm saying. Two reasons that they give for removing your bands are, number one, you can more easily detect some types of spoilage in jars stored without screw bands. Growth of spoilage bacteria and yeast produces a gas which pressurizes the food, swells the lids, and breaks the jar seals. As each stored jar is selected for use, examine its lid for tightness and for vacuum. And the way that I do that is, obviously you look at it at first, but I always pick my jars up by the lid to make sure that the seal is perfectly intact. So what they're saying is if there's some kind of spoilage or something that happens in your jar, usually that can pop the seal on your lid. If you have the screw band on, then that won't happen, and the seal won't break, and you're artificially holding the seal onto the jar, and it makes it less likely that you would detect that there's a problem. So that's the first reason. And then the reason they give: if left on stored jars, screw bands become difficult to remove, often rust, and may not work properly again. So I just think it's a good idea. I'm not going to tell anybody else what to do. That's entirely up to you. But for me and the way I store my jars, and my recommendation is that you take the bands off. There's just absolutely no reason to leave them on there. And so just remove them. There's no reason to leave them on. So with mentioning that, I just wanted to show you when I remove a jar from my shelf, I just take a good look at it, and then I hold it by the lid, and your seal should stay intact. You should have a really good seal, and you should be able to pick up any jar by its lid and it should remain intact. You can also push it up and down, make sure something hasn't happened to your seal, and your food should look appealing and appetizing. If it's an off color or something doesn't look right, I would toss it. So anyway, that's that. And then I just wanted to show you, I don't have a fancy pantry per se. We are working on, mine is in the basement, and we are working on refinishing our basement. That's my husband's winter job, is to get the basement finished, and then I will have an enclosed area. But right now we just bought some inexpensive shelves from Home Depot. I believe the shelves were $50 a piece. They're just really thick plastic, and they worked beautifully for storing my jars. So don't think, I know several people have contacted me and said I really don't have any place to store my canning stuff, so I'm not even sure I want to get canning. Is something I'm interested in, but I don't really have any place to store it. So I just want to express that to you, that you don't have to have a fancy place to store your canned goods. You can store it in any pantry that you have. If you want an extended pantry beyond things that you use every day, then you can use a closet. I know Linda from Linda's Pantry, before she moved to her new home, she had a spare bedroom that she turned into a canning pantry, and she just put, I think her shelves were metal, they weren't plastic, but they were similar to this. She just put shelves in a spare bedroom and created a pantry that way. So I've heard of people storing stuff under their bed. There are lots of ways to store it. The main thing is you want it to be a dry place, you want it to be a cool place, and you want it to be a place that's not in direct sunlight. So if you are using a spare bedroom or something, make sure that you have drapes that keep most of the sunlight out. There are also cases, I guess you'd call them, that you can put your jars in that enclose, I think it's like a dozen jars at a time, that help keep out the sunlight and keep them free of dust and that kind of thing. You can purchase those. I think they're kind of pricey, so I've never looked into that. Those also allow you to stack them, which is another point. You should always stack your jars just one jar high. You should never put jars on top of jars, for the same reason that I explained that you should remove the bands. You don't want anything holding the lid on if something would happen to your seal. So you can purchase those. I'll try to leave you a link of where you can purchase those cases if you're interested in something like that. But those would be great for putting underneath your bed also, and keep them organized. Or you could just use a box if you want to keep them that way. You could use, there are a million ways to get creative, but you don't need to have a special place or a special pantry area for your home canned goods. It can be anywhere. So that's what we have here, nothing fancy. This whole area actually is my extended pantry, and I know can't get a good angle because it's here in the corner of our basement. But in another video, I'm not going to show you today, but in another video, I have an extended pantry where we store some food for emergencies, but it's also a working pantry for me. So, and I'll explain all that in another video, but I just wanted you to know that this whole area is a pantry for extended food storage and for home canned goods. So let's get started on the home canned goods. Okay, here we go. These two shelves are basically condiments. I have lots of pickles because we had so many cucumbers, so I did all kinds of pickles. I have bread and butter pickles. We have the zesty bread and butter pickles that I made for you guys. We have dill pickles. I have spears. I have hamburger dills. And I also pickled some of them. The bigger ones, I just did them like a Clausen pickle. So we have those. I also have sweet pickle relish that I did. I have pickled green beans. And then we have the pickled green tomatoes. And if you did not see that video, you need to check it out if you like frying green tomatoes, because this worked out beautifully and I am really enjoying that. So these were wonderful. It was something new I added this year and they were really delicious. I have some salsa that I made. This is a pepper salsa. It has several different types of peppers in it. Turned out really delicious, so I would can that again. I also pickled some garlic. My husband requested that we try pickling garlic, so I did some pickled garlic for relish trays this winter. And then I have my peach barbecue sauce. I did a video on that. And then more of these are the dills that are the larger dills that I just cut in half like a Clausen. I don't think I did a video on that for you guys, but I may have, I don't remember. But if I didn't, we'll do one next summer. I also have pepper rings, hot pickled peppers, and the banana pepper rings. I love those. These are the zesty bread and butter. We did a video on those. I have smaller jars of just regular bread and butter. This is chow chow. I don't know if any of you are familiar. I'm sure some of you are familiar with chow chow. I have not done a video on this, but I canned this and I loved it. I really enjoy this. This is great for all kinds of things. It's just a really delicious condiment. You can put it on hot dogs. You can put it on hamburgers. Lots of people use chow chow in their bean soup. It's a really nice condiment to have, and it has a lot of different veggies in it. So maybe next summer we'll do a video on this, because I did enjoy making it and it is really good and nice to have on your shelf. And then some more green tomatoes for frying. And then this area is for soups and meals in a jar, stews, that kind of thing. This is bolognese. This is a recipe from the All New Ball Book of Canning. And if you're not familiar with bolognese, that is just, it's a fancy pasta sauce, and it includes meat in it. Now, as far as the things I would not can again, this is one thing I would not can again. And ground meat, which is what's in here, is something that I will not can again. And this is just personal preference. I do not like, and neither does my family, none of us liked the texture of ground beef when it was canned. So this is sat on my shelf for a while because none of us really enjoy it because of the texture of the meat. So for me, and like I said, this is just personal preference. I do not like the texture of ground beef, so I'm not doing any more canning of ground meat. I did not enjoy that at all. And the sauce is delicious, but the texture of the meat makes it something that I just would not can again. So that's a no. This was something new this year. I didn't bring you guys along for this. This is from the all new Ball Book of Canning. It's called End of Summer Pasta Sauce, and it's really pretty. It has all kinds of veggies in it. When I was making it, it reminded me more of a vegetable soup than a pasta sauce because of the way that they have you make it. But it is really pretty. It is really delicious. It has things in it like corn and cauliflower, green beans, all kinds of stuff. Just basically what you would think of end of summer from your garden. Veggies, some zucchini, I think, eggplant is in here. So there's all kinds of veggies in here. I have not used it yet. I'd obviously tasted it when I was making it before I canned it. And it does taste really good, but like I said, it reminds me more of a vegetable soup than a pasta sauce. But I'm thinking that this would be really delicious on like cheese-filled tortellini or ravioli. This would be really nice to get some extra veggies in your diet. The jury's still out on this, but I do think it's beautiful and it is a tasty sauce if you don't mind the veggies in your pasta sauce. Or I guess you could eat it like vegetable soup. There's nothing special about it that you couldn't. So anyway, I'll let you know my feelings on that once we start using it. Another one that I have not done a video on, but I will be sure to do that next summer. This is roasted tomato basil soup, and it is fabulous. Really, really delicious. You just pop open a jar, add a little bit of milk or cream if you like cream in your tomato soup. This is a good one. It takes a little bit of work because you got to roast the tomatoes, but it's worth it. It's really delicious, and I love having this on my shelf. So we'll do a video on that next year. Bean soup is a staple. Beans in general are a staple. This is 15 bean soup with ham. Delicious, wonderful to have on your shelf. Sometimes my mom always loved to have dumplings in her soup, so sometimes when I open this jar I make dumplings and put those on top, and it's really delicious. It's really nice to have on hand. You could do a million things with bean soup. You can add some sauce to it and make baked beans out of it if you wanted to. And bean soup is just delicious and great, especially if you had some sort of emergency. Beans are a great source of protein. So that is a keeper. The split pea and ham soup, I do have a video on this. This is delicious, really good. Most of you who like pea soup, I'm sure, have canned it. Easy to do, really delicious. This is black bean chili. I do not have a video on this yet. This was something new I tried this year, but it is quite tasty. So maybe we'll do some of that this winter. It'd be a nice winter project, canning project. So it is good and it's great to have on your shelf. This is it's called chicken stew, and this is from the all new Ball Book of Canning. This I canned a while ago. I'm not a huge fan of this. I did use chicken breasts, which is what is recommended. And the chicken breast in it has a dry texture to it. You are supposed to cube it in 1-inch cubes. And you can tell it has a lot of veggies in it. It tastes okay. Not a huge fan. Like I said, the chicken seems dry. And chicken is another thing that I'm not a huge fan of canning, unless you do I do the barbecue pork. That is really good with chicken. This I'm not crazy about, so I probably would not can this again, nor would I can chicken breast again. It has a dry texture to it, and I don't care for it. So chicken breast is another thing that I would not can again. And then my enchilada sauce, we have a video on this, and this is really delicious. Great to have on hand for making enchiladas. Green beans, I have a ton of green beans. I have them in quart jars, and I also have some pint jars. Just delicious. Green beans are a staple, something that I love to can, is easy to can, and they're really great. I love green beans. Stewed tomatoes are another favorite. I don't think I have a video on doing stewed tomatoes, but they are fantastic, easy to can, great to have on your shelf for soups and stews. So that is a yes. And then this shelf, I think you can, I don't know if you can still see, but down here I have tomatoes. We did a video on the steam canning the tomatoes, which the steam canning is fantastic. Loving that. And tomatoes are number one at the top of my list of things to can, because when you bust open a jar of these bad boys and give it a smell, oh my goodness, it's just like summer in your garden. Canned tomatoes, home canned tomatoes are absolutely delicious. One of my absolute faves, just because they're fairly easy to do and they taste amazing. And I like to can mine. I know a lot of people make pasta sauce, marinara, all that, and that's fine to do that, but I love just canning straight up tomatoes because I can do tons with this. I can make soups and stews. I can make tomato soup out of it. I can make pasta sauce or my own marinara. You can do tons of things with it. So I'm not limited by making it into spaghetti sauce. So I love just having fresh canned tomatoes on hand. That would be at the very top of my list. And then I just have more green beans. And then as we continue on this bottom shelf here, this is my veggie shelf, and then stocks and meats. I have more quart jars of green beans, the herb potatoes. Those turned out fantastic, and I did a video on these for you guys, so make sure you check that out. Those are great to have on your shelf for a multitude of reasons. And then stock is another thing that is a number one at the top of my list of things to have canned. This, you guys, making your own stock it saves you money. You're not wasting anything, and it's so good for you. I do have a video on this. I may do an updated video on it maybe this winter. I'm going to go back and rewatch that video and see if I can update it at all, because I just am a big believer in making your own stock. What I do to do that is once we roast a chicken or whatever chicken carcass I have left, even if it's just a chicken that you buy at the grocery store, the rotisserie chickens or whatever, I save all the leftovers, the skin, the carcass, the bones, all of that. And then I just put it in the freezer, and then when I have enough to make a batch of stock, 2 or so full carcasses, then I make my stock. And when I have time, I save it till I have time. And then you can also save things like your potato peels, onion peels, garlic, the paper around your garlic, carrot tops, the bottom part of your celery, any type of vegetable scraps you can save in a freezer bag, as well as your chicken remnants or your turkey remnants. Put them in a freezer bag, stick them in the freezer till you have time to make stock, and till you have enough, you've accumulated enough to make stock. And then you're not wasting anything. And you're getting, for us, my husband and I were just discussing this, for a chicken that would cost you less than $10 at the grocery store, we get 2 full meals out of that, plus I have enough left over to make chicken salad or something like that for lunches, and then you have the carcass to make stock. It is such a great value, so learn to do stock. It is amazing, tastes so good, much better than anything you can get in the grocery store, and it is a huge savings. And then the roasted corn stock we did, that is fantastic and so pretty. Just love that yellow color. And then the other thing I have on this shelf down here are meats. Meats are something that I'm not a huge fan of canning. Like I said, I do not like the texture of ground beef when it's canned. And not a huge fan of chicken. If I would can chicken again, it would be thighs, not breasts. The one thing that we do enjoy, however, is the canned pulled pork, the barbecue pulled pork. pulled pork is delicious, and I do have a video on that, and I know many of you have watched it, and it is so good. And that is also a great way to do, if you wanted to do chicken, you could use chicken instead of pork. But the other one, this is roast pork in spicy broth. This is a recipe from the all new Ball Book of Canning, which maybe we'll do for you this winter sometime. This would be another good winter time project to do. Just buy a pork roast. I think you use pork butt or shoulder when they're on sale, and then you just cube it, add some spices, and you have this beautiful broth. You could use it to make ramen. You can use it to make, I think they recommend in the Ball Book of Canning to use it to make carnitas. You drain the broth off and then you shred your meat and put it in the oven and crisp it up like you do for carnitas when you're making them from scratch. So this is great to have on hand. And then, like I said, the barbecue pulled pork, and I need to do more of them. I'm running low on both of those, but those are both fantastic for canning. And then this middle shelf here is my bean shelf. And I love having all sorts of beans on hand. These are south of the border black beans. They're just black beans that have been seasoned with Tex-Mex seasonings. I can do a video on this if you guys are interested. But these are great to have on hand because you can make black bean soup with them in a hurry. You can also process them and make a bean dip out of it. So this is just really, you could open it up and you could use it to make black bean tacos or nachos, that kind of thing. So these are great to have on hand. And then the infamous hummus in a jar. I am so sad about this. I can't bring myself to throw these away because I hate wasting food, but I'm not totally comfortable because of the sesame seed issue. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might want to go back and watch my updated video on the instant hummus in a jar. This is a fabulous idea. It's toasted sesame seeds and the garbanzo beans and lemon in a jar, but then we later found out that, and this is from a canning book, this is from the Not Your Mama's canning book, but found out that the canning sesame seeds are in question. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I don't know if we're going to chance it and eat it. My kids love hummus. I don't know. It's just been sitting there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Anyway, and then these are the Mexican pinto beans that I use for making refried beans. We love these. They're great as is, or you can process them and make refried beans with them, and I have a video on that. Butter beans are another one. My husband loves butter beans. We both do. I love all kinds of beans, and so does he. But butter beans are a favorite, so I do can those. They can be kind of hard to find, so I buy my dried ones from our Amish store when we go to Amish country several times a year, and I stock up on beans when we go there. So if you want to find butter beans, you may have to go to some place like that to find them or buy them online. My baked beans, of course, my Better Than Bush's baked beans, in my opinion. These are great to have on hand for obvious reasons. You can do tons of things with them. And actually, a great way to make a really quick meal if you are canning the baked beans and the barbecue pulled pork. Put your barbecue pulled pork in your baked beans and you have a full meal. Absolutely delicious together. And then chili beans, we'll be using these this winter for sure. I have a video on home canned chili beans. And then I just have these are just red kidney beans. I keep them on hand because I like to make kidney bean salad with them, and also for chili. And then this shelf here is for jams and jellies. This is orange date preserves. This recipe was from the all new Ball Book of Canning. These are delicious. Actually, this is a great preserve to have at Christmas time. I do not have a video on this. If you're interested in this orange, if you like orange and dates, it's a great holiday flavor combo. If you're interested in that recipe, let me know and I'll do a video on it. It's not hard to do and really delicious to have on hand. And like I said, great for the holiday season. The infamous tomato jam, fantastic. I have a video on that if you're not familiar. That's a good one. onion balsamic jam. This is from the all new Ball Book of Canning. This is fantastic. If you like onions and balsamic vinegar, you will love this. There's lots of things that you can do with this. I think they even make a salad dressing with it. They give you recipes in that book to make with your canned goods, and that would be, they make a salad dressing with it, and a marinade too, I believe. So that's a good one to have if you enjoy balsamic vinegar and onions. Blackberry syrup. I do not have a video on this yet, so we'll probably do a video on this next summer when blackberries are in season. This is not hard to do, and it is fantastic. If you eat waffles or pancakes or anything like that, this is absolutely delicious on waffles and pancakes. And it's just blackberries and sugar, I believe, a little bit of lemon maybe. And then blackberry jam. We love that. And then this is peach rum sauce. I don't believe I did a video on this. I think I was just testing it out. It was a recipe I came across on the Ball Canning website. This is fantastic, you guys. I'm so excited to use this winter. This would be great over vanilla ice cream or just a vanilla cake. Put this over it. Fantastic. And this would really be nice for the holidays because of the rum. And it would also make a nice gift. If you like to do homemade gifts for people, this would be a good one. And apple butter, we just did that. Fantastic, really delicious. And then the peach jam, the low sugar peach jam. I did a video on this, really great. And then this shelf up here is, I know you can't see it, it's not in camera right now, but this is my fruit shelf. I have, this is Honeycrisp Vanilla Bean Applesauce. I believe I have a video on this. I think I did it last season. This I do not have a video on. This is something that I just tried this year. This is Summer Berry Applesauce. So this has raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries, and obviously apples. It's because it's applesauce. This is really, really good. This is going to taste delicious this winter. Great taste of summer. And then this one was the Not Your Mama's applesauce that we made with the vanilla bean and the apple cider syrup. That's not what we called it. The boiled cider. That's what I'm looking for. It has the boiled cider in it. This is delicious. A lot of you guys came along for that. Blackberries. We enjoy berries, and blackberries can well. These are just in a light syrup. I love having these on hand because you can just eat them straight out of the jar. The syrup you can thicken with some cornstarch and then put the berries, after you thicken it, put the berries back in, and you can make a pie filling out of it, or it's delicious on top of waffles or pancakes, crepes, that kind of thing. So I love having these on hand because you can do a lot with them besides just eat them as blackberries. These are Clementines. This was fun to can. This was something that I tried when Clementines were in season last year, I think. It was sometime last winter I did these. You just peel your clementines. I like to make a light syrup. I don't like heavy syrup for my fruits. And they're beautiful and they taste great. And my kids have always loved mandarin oranges. And then pears. The pears, I love canned pears. Absolutely delicious in light syrup again. And I don't have a video on that. I'll try to do a video for you next season. And then peaches are another one that I love having on hand. My daughter is a peach fiend. And again, they're just canned in light syrup. Really, really yummy. So yeah, let's see. Here's another thing. Forgot they were stuck back there. This is something else I tried this year. I know one of you asked me for a salsa verde video, and I apologize, I did not get to it because every week when I would go to the store, we never have good tomatillos. So I never could get enough nice ones from my grocery store to do some salsa verde. So Ball has a recipe for green tomato salsa verde. So that's what this is. So I thought I would give it a try. Obviously I tasted it when I made it, but I haven't tried making enchiladas with it or anything. So I'll let you know. We'll use this winter, and if I like it, we'll do a video on it. But that's what that is, green tomato salsa verde. And you can eat it like a salsa, or you can puree it and make it into green enchilada sauce. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I am not done canning. It is my goal to have all these shelves filled before winter comes, so we'll be having some more canning. Hopefully I'll bring you along for some of it. There's so much going on with the holidays that I'm kind of conflicted about what videos I need to put up. I can only do so much content, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna do more holiday recipes or try to get some more canning in for you guys, but I do want my shelves filled by the time winter comes, because then winter just tastes so good. When you have all these home canned things on your shelf. So I hope that answers your questions. So I think I did share things I love to can. The things that I would not can again is very minimal. Like I said, it's the chicken breast, it's ground meat, mostly meat. I'm just not a fan of meat. Canned meat, it looks weird, and I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. But I would encourage you that if you love to can meat and you're really interested in canning your own meat, check out Linda's Pantry. I love Linda. Hi Linda, if you're watching this. I love her. She is one of the reasons why I started canning, and she cans everything under the sun. She does chicken, she does venison, she does ground beef, she does the whole shebang of different types of meat. So I encourage you, I know some of you came to my channel from her channel, but if you're not familiar with Linda's Pantry, check her out. She has tons of videos on canning meats, and she is a great resource for all kinds of things. But anyway, check her out if you're interested in meat, because I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of it other than what I've already shared. Other than I might do the spicy pork for you, because I do enjoy that and I think it is really delicious. So just another word on canning. I keep my jars up to 3 years. That's also what Linda decided was her cutoff, was 3 years, and I think that that's fair. Ball, and most of the experts will say you should eat it within a year to 18 months. The ball canning lids are guaranteed for 18 months, and we do, most of my stuff I do go through within that amount of time, but I do have some things that we don't go through that quickly. So, and it's not that it goes bad, it just, like any canned good, if you go past the best by date, it's not, you can lose some vitamins, that kind of thing. The texture can change some. So, but I do have things. I have some green beans that I canned that were canned in 2017, so that was 2 years ago, that we just ate, and they were delicious. So I don't have a problem with 2 to 3 years is good for me. Speaking of green beans, that is one thing I did forget to mention, and I did want to make sure it was on my not to can again list, and that is I did the lemon garlic green beans from the all new Ball Book of Canning. Do not like those. I think that when you can lemon, it loses its bright citrusy flavor, in my opinion, and it's very strong. So I wouldn't do that again. If I want that lemon, a little bit of lemon flavor in my green beans, I think I would just keep a fresh lemon on hand and just squeeze a little fresh lemon in my baked beans, or in my green beans. I'm not going to can those again. I did not enjoy those. So that is another thing that is on my no list, is lemon green beans. But you might groove on it, and that's just my opinion. Everyone is different. I know I have a lovely lady from Scotland who follows me, and we were chit-chatting back and forth about some things. She likes canned ground meat, but she also explained that in Scotland their meat is ground a little bit differently than it is here. It's not as finely ground, so she doesn't have a problem with the texture. Hi Carol, if you're watching. She's so sweet. I enjoy hearing from all of you so much. And anyway, so if you live in another country, maybe your meat is ground different than it is here in the US. And maybe, I know one of my subscribers, I had to laugh. We were talking back and forth about canned meat, and he said, yeah, it's kind of like the texture of wet cat food. And yes, that is exactly how I feel about it. It is kind of that, it's just like, I don't know. It's just a weird texture. But anyway, so yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, I think I covered everything for you guys. If you have any other questions about how to store your home canned goods, or if you questions about what I can, or if there's something you'd like to see a video on, let me know. I am happy to oblige. I love getting feedback from you guys of things that you want to see, because that is why I'm here. I want to be helpful and share knowledge and information and help you out as well. So leave me a comment and let me know if there's something that you want to see or if you have any other questions. So thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you all so very much. You have no idea how much you all mean to me. I can have a bad day and then one of you will send me a sweet comment, and it just really makes my day. So thank you so much for subscribing, liking, sharing, all of that, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great day.